Amidst the splendor of the city of Jericho, an opulent city bathed in the eastern sun, lived a man whose world was darkness and uncertainty. His name was Bartimaeus, a name that echoed the margins, the shadow, the exclusion. In that Jericho, of strong walls and vibrant markets, where merchants prospered and life seemed to pulse with vigor, Bartimaeus was just a beggar. A blind man sitting by the roadside, extending his hand in the hope of a coin, a piece of bread. His condition was that of many in that era. Blindness had confined him to an existence of total dependence. He could not work, could not participate in assemblies, nor even walk safely through the streets. The prosperous society of Jericho, in its pursuit of wealth and status, often forgot or simply ignored those who, like Bartimaeus, could not contribute to its advancement. He was there, but he was also apart, an exile in his own city. His life was a daily struggle for the most basic survival. The cold of the night, the relentless heat of the day, the gnawing hunger, all of this was faced without the comfort of sight. Sitting there, day after day, the sound of the crowd's footsteps was his only contact with the world he could not see. Hope seemed a distant good, almost unattainable. The charity of passers-by was his sustenance, a thin thread that held him to life. Many passed by, some with momentary pity, others with complete indifference, but few truly saw the soul behind the blindness, the man behind the beggar. Bartimaeus was a reminder of human fragility, of the injustice that illness imposed. His presence by the roadside was a silent mark of pain and need, a somber contrast to the vitality that surrounded him. He lived on the margins not by choice, but by the cruel hand of fate and the difficulty of acceptance in a world that valued ability and strength. Each day, the same routine, the same darkness, the same wait for a little help. Life in Jericho passed him by, vibrant and indifferent, while he remained there, a fixed point of need and vulnerability. His existence was a silent testimony to the precariousness imposed by the lack of vision. Standing there, by the dusty road in Jericho, Bartimaeus, the blind man, lived in the perpetual darkness of his condition. His world was shaped by sounds, by smells, and by the little charity his outstretched hand received. A growing murmur, coming from the direction of the city, began to reach his sensitive ears. It wasn't the usual market noise, or the trot of a single traveler. It was the sound of a large crowd moving, an unusual stir. He strained his senses, trying to discern the reason for such a commotion. And then, amidst the cacophony of voices, he caught the name that ignited his soul: Jesus, Jesus of Nazareth. The news spread like wildfire. The rabbi who performed wonders, the man he had heard so much about, was passing through his city. Bartimaeus had heard the reports, whispered reports of miraculous healings, of blind people who regained their sight, of the lame who walked, of lepers cleansed, of lives restored by a simple touch or a word. Having been in darkness for so long, these stories were like distant rays of light, promises of a world he could barely imagine. Now, that light, that power, was no longer a distant story. It was approaching, right there, on that very road where he spent his days, in the shadows. An overwhelming wave of hope flooded his heart. This was the chance, the unique opportunity, the window that could open to a new destiny, he believed. A clear faith, without a shadow of a doubt, arose within him. He didn't need to see to believe in the power of that name. His determination hardened like steel. He knew what he wanted, and he knew who could grant it. The darkness that held him could finally yield. The humiliation of begging could end. All this because Jesus of Nazareth was coming, the one who heard, who healed, who transformed. Bartimaeus grasped this hope with all the strength of his suffering soul. He would not let the opportunity slip through his blind fingers. The sound of the crowd, was getting closer. The chance of his life was meters away. His faith, pure and unshakable, impelled him to act. He had to call out. He had to be noticed. Hope, once a faint thread, was now a strong rope, pulling him towards the source of all healing. He prepared himself, with his heart pounding and his mind fixed on a single goal: sight, freedom, through Jesus. He knew, with a certainty that needed no eyes, that his healing was possible. The news was not just a sound on the wind. It was the harbinger of a personal miracle. His chance had arrived, and he was ready to fight for it with the only weapon he possessed, a powerful and unshakable faith. Oh, how close was the promise he longed for. He would hear the approaching footsteps, and his soul would cry out, his chance, finally, his hope, burning bright in the darkness. He waited, every fiber of his being vibrating with the imminence of the encounter that would change everything. What a crucial moment, what a spark of hope amidst the perpetual night. And then, the moment approaches. The crowd's buzz grows, transforming into a roar that heralds the arrival. Jesus of Nazareth, the master of miracles, is passing through Jericho, surrounded by a vast multitude, a human tide that follows and encircles him. Bartimaeus, by the side of the road, perceives the proximity, his heart pounding with the hope that consumed him. He does not hesitate. With a strength that seemed to come from his very soul, he erupts in a cry that pierces the air, overcoming the crowd's noise. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me, he shouts, his voice laden with desperation and, above all, with unwavering faith. Every word echoes. Son of David. Ah, what a powerful and loaded title. It wasn't just a name, it was a recognition. Bartimaeus, the blind beggar, never having seen him with physical eyes, publicly declares him as the promised Messiah, the heir to David's throne, the one who had come to bring liberation. It was an understanding that many, even among those who followed Jesus, did not yet fully possess, but to Bartimaeus, the truth was as clear as the sun he could not see. His audacity, his persistent cry begins to bother those around him. The crowd, perhaps wanting to maintain order or simply not wanting to be disturbed by a blind beggar, tries to silence him. They rebuke him, order him to be quiet, not to make a fuss. But Bartimaeus does not give up. The opportunity of his life, the chance to meet the one who could change his destiny, was too precious to be wasted by intimidation. Far from being silenced, his determination ignites even more. He ignores the voices of disapproval, ignores the pushes or looks of contempt. He shouts louder, with all the strength he has left. Son of David, have mercy on me. The cry resonates, a desperate plea full of faith, absolutely refusing to be ignored by the world's indifference or the crowd's haste. His cry was proof that faith, when true, cannot be silenced. It cannot be contained, and it will reach the ears of the one who can do all things. And then, amidst the persistent cry of the blind man by the roadside, something powerful happened. It wasn't the crowd that silenced him, nor despair that overcame him. It was his faith, a faith that cried out louder than any human voice, that reached the ears of the Holy One of Israel. Yes, Bartimaeus' unwavering faith, which recognized him as the Son of David, caught the Master's attention. He who was walking towards Jerusalem, in fulfillment of the Scriptures, stopped. The Redeemer of the world halted his steps to attend to a blind beggar, rejected by society. What a powerful image of divine compassion. And Jesus, turning to the crowd, gave a simple command, yet full of authority. Call him. Imagine the scene. Those who moments before tried to silence Bartimaeus were now tasked with bringing him into Jesus' presence. He who was on the margin would now be led to the center of the Messiah's own attention. The blind man, filled with renewed hope upon hearing Jesus was calling him, threw off his cloak, the only possession he had, and sprang up. With a heart pounding with expectation, he went towards where the Savior was waiting for him, guided by the voices and by his own faith. And there, before Jesus, Bartimaeus waited, his heart burning. And then, the Master, with a tenderness that transcends understanding, asked, "What do you want me to do for you?" A question that seemed unnecessary, for his condition was clear to all, but which invited Bartimaeus to express the deepest desire of his soul. And without hesitation, without any doubt or delay, Bartimaeus uttered the words that would seal his destiny, words of pure confidence and yearning. "Lord, that I may see." He didn't ask for riches. He didn't ask for earthly comfort. He asked for the gift of sight, the ability to see the world, and above all, to see the face of the one who could restore him. What a direct request. What unwavering faith manifested in a few words. There was the essence of his belief concentrated in a cry for light. And so Bartimaeus' voice, loaded with irrepressible hope, reached the Master's ears. Jesus, the Son of David, stopped. That persistent cry, that unwavering faith, touched the Lord's heart, and the answer was not long in coming. Jesus ordered that he be brought to his presence. Imagine the stir in the crowd, the very ones who tried to silence him, now making way for the blind man. And Bartimaeus, upon hearing the call, threw off his cloak, the symbol of his condition and dependence, and ran, perhaps stumbling, but running towards his destiny. There, before the one who can do anything, Jesus asked him, "What do you want me to do for you?" A simple question, but one that demanded a clear and confident answer. And Bartimaeus, without hesitation, with his soul overflowing with desire, replied, "Lord, that I may see." Ah, the clarity of that petition. He didn't ask for alms, he didn't ask for earthly comfort, he asked for sight. He asked for the ability to see the light, to see the world, to see Jesus himself. And then, the reward came. Bartimaeus' faith, that unwavering belief even in darkness, was honored in a spectacular way. Jesus, with an authority that echoed through the blind man's soul, uttered the words that would seal his miracle. "Go, your faith has healed you." And the exact moment those words were spoken, something astounding happened. Immediately, the darkness that had imprisoned Bartimaeus for so many years dissipated. Light invaded his eyes for the first time, a torrent of colors and shapes. The reality he could only imagine now revealed itself in all its glory. Sight was restored, complete, perfect, a living testimony to the transformative power of faith. Bartimaeus' reaction was the purest expression of gratitude and worship, filled with indescribable joy, with his eyes now open to the world and, more importantly, to the face of his Savior. He did not hesitate. He didn't go back to Jericho, to his old life as a beggar by the side of the road. His immediate response to healing was to follow Jesus. He joined that group following the Master, leaving behind misery and marginalization. His life was completely and definitively transformed. The story of Bartimaeus reminds us that faith, even in the face of the greatest barriers, has the power to connect us to the supernatural. May persistence in seeking God, even when we are discouraged, lead us to experience His miracles. May true faith not only heal, but also propel us onto a new path, the path of following the one who gave us light. It is an eternal example of how trust in Jesus can turn our lives upside down, for the better. May your own faith motivate you to cry out, to persist, and to follow the one who can turn your darkness into light. And so, we reach the end of another journey through the sacred scriptures. If this message has touched your heart and enlightened your understanding, we ask that you leave your like, your comment, and, above all, that you subscribe to support our project of carrying the word forward. May the peace of the Lord be with you, and may God richly bless your life.